All right, we're back for another episode of the Rehashables. It's only been a couple weeks since our last one, but we both saw another tentpole movie for this year, the Fantastic Four, so we had to do another pod. How you feeling, pal?
Feeling great. Look at us getting to the movie theater, actually watching things. You know, the pod's like it's kind of forced me to go to the movies more, which is awesome. You know what I mean? And I've been to the movie theater more in the last probably month and a half than I have, the previous year. So it's good to kind of get back into it, and it's just awesome going to the movies and being part of the conversation that is happening.
Same here. I went to the movies twice within a 1 week period. Went to go see Superman first, and then that Friday, just a few days later, I went to see Fantastic Four on opening day. I think it was 10 a.m., 11 a.m. There was a lot of people in the theater, so it was cool. It was fun.
I was going to say, was it busy?
Yeah, it was pretty busy.
Yeah.
It wasn't full, but they also had like 6, 7, 10 different showings that day, and this was the very first one, so I'm sure it was a lot busier than the other ones. But there was a good amount of people for a morning movie, which, man, I don't know if I've been to the movies in the actual morning time. Maybe I'm sure me and you have gone at some point to a movie at that time of day, but 10 or 11 was pretty early. Again, I did fall asleep for like 30 seconds, but much better than those nighttime showings.
Well, this was a good tight movie. I mean, the movie itself is under 2 hours. You know what I mean? So even falling asleep, it's not like you might maybe miss a little bit more of the movie, but it was still. I liked how it was under 2 hours, even with 30 minutes of previews.
A million minutes of previews. Yeah, no, it was good. I was glad to see it. Now we just got to figure out what our next one is after this, but we definitely have a lot to talk about today. I'm excited to do it with you. It's been, I feel like we're a little bit past, like with Superman, I kind of felt like we were able to do our podcast in the middle of the conversation about that movie, where we're maybe a little bit on the tail end of it, but I still think it's, obviously we're going to do it regardless because we enjoy doing it, but like, I think we're on the tail end of some of the conversation, so have been able to digest some stuff. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah, I've been able to digest, listen, read some things. I mean, it had an awesome opening weekend, or a really good opening weekend, let's say. But you see the numbers last week? It was a pretty big drop off in week 2.
80% drop off last week, and then everyone rings the alarm bells, and we can talk about all that stuff as we go. Yeah. But like, part of me thinks like people want that to happen, so it does.
Yeah, I know. Well. Yeah, but Superman didn't quite have
drop off quite as much. So I guess it does mean something, but it's just people latch on to that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the movies cost a lot to make, and they have to make a lot of money for it to be justified. You know what I mean, too. So, but yeah, I'm ready to dive in. I think our thoughts are actually maybe a little bit different going into this one, which should make for good conversation. So,
well, I actually. Not surprised. You're more like you're a higher end movie going guy, foreign films, that sort of stuff, like small film festival kind of guy. So like I'm just a simple minded, poor hard working Biddeford boy that just like likes his comic book movies. So I enjoyed it, and you're just a little bit more lukewarm about it, which is fine.
Yeah. I'm glad, first off, when you texted me afterwards, you're like, I loved it. Saw your grade for it, and I was like fired up, and it was awesome. And I mean, the thing is, like, I'm not going into this being like fucking wow me, you know what I mean? Like, show me like what's up. I can't wait, really impress me. I go into this like really wanting to love this. I left Superman like flying high. I thought Superman was incredible. This I thought was very good, but not much like I can't really separate it from a lot of other mid-tier Marvel movies, you know what I mean? Like that were very good, you know what I mean? Like Ant-Man or Guardians 2 or something along those lines. It's just not in the top probably 12 of Marvel movies that I made. And I thought with the hype of this and the casting that I was expecting that. So just didn't quite reach my expectations.
So just because of the timing of this and Superman, like I feel like you have to compare the two. It's just can't talk about one without the other. I definitely left Superman having really enjoyed it. Obviously I graded it high, and I think we both really liked it, as anyone that listened to the podcast would be able to say. I liked this one just in a different way. Just had a little bit of a different tone. It wasn't as like fun leaving the theater, but I actually thought it had a really fully realized universe, a distinct look to it, something that made it a little bit different for me than the other recent Marvel movies. So, and I left like wanting to spend more time with those characters and kind of see where it goes on next.
I mean, yeah, so like leaving Superman, I was flying high. I mean, the different elements of Superman that I just thought were better. I thought it was a funnier movie. There were some like laugh out loud moments in Superman. I didn't think this one was as funny. There were some moments. This is crazy, but like the soundtrack and music, there was like some like such good moments in Superman that really were memorable and stuff. And Fantastic Four didn't have that. And I think the other thing that Marvel struggles with is the villain. And I think Lex Luthor was significantly better than Galactus.
Yeah.
And the stakes were just different. And so leaving it too. So that's why when I gave Superman 4 stars, because I use Letterboxd, which doesn't help my snobby film critic reputation that you just gave me. But I gave that 4 stars, and I gave this 3.5 because I couldn't give this one 4 too, because I thought Superman was just a superior movie.
Yeah.
So again, it wasn't that I hated it; I just thought it was fine.
Yeah, fair criticism. And James Gunn always has the music aspect of things nailed down. So
and the comedy, and it's funny.
Yeah.
There was some like
It's
funny
and the
moments.
Jimmy Olsen thing, like, that none of that equates here. This was a little bit more of a serious type movie. Again, different tone. Villain stuff is definitely an issue. Anytime you have like these giant cosmic villains, that's hard to relate to. Where Lex Luthor is like an actual person.
Yeah.
We'll get to it at some point, I'm sure, but like maybe they fix some of that stuff in the future with Marvel as they get into the Doctor Doom stuff and Robert Downey Jr. comes back. Maybe the villain piece for those, if he is even a villain, I guess some would say, that could be fixed. But yeah, I can relate to that. When you have a guy like Galactus walking through Manhattan, it's like kind of hard to connect with it on the same way that you do with Lex Luthor.
And just didn't like quite understand. I mean, we can get into it maybe more with the awards, but like his motive and like it's like you just know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? The end of the he's gonna try to destroy the world. He's not going to. Like it's like the same formula.
Yeah.
Before getting into awards, do you want to talk about the cast at all? Or do you feel like the awards will kind of cover that?
No, I'm happy to, because yes, we'll talk about some of the cast when we do an awards, and we can't wait to do these awards because we've been putting some time into this, and this will be kind of part of the way we do the podcast moving forward. But I thought the cast was actually great. And I don't know how much I want to get into it, I guess, but I do want to talk about Pedro Pascal for a second, because I think it kind of ties into some of the things that you were talking about with the movie. Is there Pedro Pascal fatigue at this point? Because that's the thing I keep hearing about. Like, is he just in too much stuff and people are just kind of sick of it, so a certain percentage of people rebel?
So nobody bought more stock on Pedro Pascal when he showed up as Oberyn Martell in that parade in Game of Thrones, and he was the Viper and the man for the Prince from Dorne, and he completely stole a TV show full of charismatic characters and stuff. And ever since then, his stock, then you only throw on the Mandalorian, which is really only his voice, and a few times he took off his mask. But that was such a cultural iconic show. And then like The Last of Us and all that kind of stuff. So I love Pedro Pascal, and I actually don't have Pedro Pascal fatigue. I think he's great in everything, except with all that being said, I think, and I was so looking forward to him in this, I think he was just, the way either he was written or the way it was miscast, I think he's actually one of the 4 that missed the most. I need a badass Pedro Pascal.
So then pump the brake for a second.
Okay.
Because is it possible the character of Reed Richards is what holds him back? Or is it actually Pedro Pascal?
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I mean, I guess miscast, but like there can be a difference between, like, maybe he wasn't miscast, maybe he was properly cast, but just that's the character, and regardless if it was him or someone else.
I feel like that's like the definition of miscast. I feel like that's like what he should be.
Who would have been better? Maybe the character of Reed Richards is a guy that, with being as smart as he is and his temperament and all that stuff, is always going to be someone that you don't connect with, regardless of the miss. So I guess it's not a miscast if anyone you could put in that role, you would walk away with similar feelings about. That's
fair, but he's the one that was in this role now, so that's why we'll talk about it and bring it up. But I just Reed Richards just wasn't a charismatic leader to me. I mean, he's supposedly be the smartest man in the world. He was a little too oh gosh, shucks kind of stuff going on. I guess there are.
What if that's Reed Richards? What if Reed Richards?
But the thing is though, is if you read anything or hear anything about this, that's not necessarily Reed Richards. There is a Reed Richards out there that's very, very arrogant and very cocky, much more like Tony Stark kind of style character. So there are different variations of Reed Richards through the comic books through the years that they could have drawn from. But you're right, from a main character standpoint, I wouldn't, and we could talk about the other people who I actually really enjoyed. I wouldn't run through a brick wall for Reed Richards. He wasn't the most charismatic leader. The guy's superpower, besides him being the smartest man in the world, is stretching. Not exactly I'm not exactly doing backflips
You
about
don't you don't really see that much, too much in the movie too.
that.
But
Like that scene when Galactus is like stretching him out. I'm like, this is like, what are we like? What are we doing here? You know what I
if
mean?
your stretchiness is a superpower, like you're obliged to have a scene in the movie where they stretch him like that.
Yeah,
You know. So,
yeah. That's also. I'm just like, again, did it make me hate the movie? No, but I'm also not like freaking Reed Richards, man. I'm like, let's go. I'm all in on this guy. You know what I mean? But I want to just to counter it. I thought Vanessa Kirby was that character, and she was
yeah.
awesome. So you know what I mean. So Sue Storm was incredible. So yeah, whether Pedro was miscast, miswritten, or if anyone else in that role would have done the same thing, I don't know. You have Pedro Pascal, and he plays such a good, badass character. I don't know. Maybe he's typecast. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
So
that's my
all
thought.
fair. I mean, cast wise, I mean, Fantastic Four, basically 4 people. We already talked about
Yep.
Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, Eben Moss, Backrack. Is that how you even say it?
Yeah, from the Bear.
From the Bear. He plays the Thing. He's generally CGI the whole time.
Mhm.
And then Johnny Storm, played by Joe Quinn, who I
Yep.
thought did a good job. And we'll probably talk about some of his team.
Too. Yeah, but that's the kind of feedback that people are saying about it, and I think I mean Pedro Pascal was in 3 movies and an HBO TV show all within the last 3 months. You know what I mean? So he's everywhere. Yeah,
He is everywhere.
And I like him, and he's gonna be just fine. So
Yeah. Yep. Okay, you want to dig into our awards?
yeah, let's dive in.
Yeah, I'm pumped. We got, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different awards. So we're doing this. This is official. This is the way we're doing these podcasts moving forward. We've changed the awards from the Superman one, renamed some of them. Generally, some of them are the same, but it'll be something that we might rename from month to month or movie to movie that we see. But I think we're ready to roll with what we got. So
Yeah, it's good. I think it's very us. It's very it's kind of custom for us, which is great.
also, I don't know if you're up for doing this, but like we'll do our awards, but I might throw some nominees in there that aren't necessarily like my winners, and then at the end, like this is who I would ultimately choose. So
Absolutely.
that would be the format that I want to go. So the first award is the Hill Valley Clock Tower Award for the best scene or sequence in the movie, named after one of our favorite sequences in our favorite movie, Back to the Future. So do you want to start? You want me to
You start.
Okay, so this isn't my favorite scene or sequence, but I'll do just a couple nominees, things that I would consider as one of the best scenes. Silver Surfer's arrival. Like I thought that was, a really good scene that I enjoyed. Because up until that point in the movie, just kind of like laying tracks on the Fantastic Four backstories, kind of seeing how they interact. But then that kind of happened. It was very ominous. Like it's a part you had seen in the trailer, and she kind of flies down and tells them that Galactus is coming. So I thought that was a very good sequence or scene. Not my favorite, but like I would nominate that as one of a handful.
Yep. No, I think that was an awesome scene, and actually one of my awards for a little bit later on.
Yeah.
What other nominees do you have?
So the other one is just like that fight scene with Galactus at the end is like I can't not have that. It's such a big part of the movie. So I mean, if we're talking about sequences, like it's worth mentioning. There was some good action there. Yes, was it a giant guy in Manhattan? And I do have issues with that. Similar to the Superman. It's like I used to love like citywide destruction and think that was very cool. But like, it's not my favorite scene, but it's definitely worth mentioning because there's some good action and the superheroes have some good fight sequences. They each have opportunities to like showcase what they can do in that scene. And it has a good emotional ending, but not my favorite scene. So
yeah, I mean, that's the obvious choice for like that, because that is the climax of the movie. You know what I mean? And then there are definitely some plot points within that fight scene that I have mentioned a little later on too. But like that was the scene where you kind of get an idea of like Galactus and like how big he is and like what he can do and stuff. But that is the climax of the movie. You know what I mean? That's the 80% in and stuff. So mine, I'm gonna go into mine, and you can go into your one you choose.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be kind of crazy, but probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie. I actually love the opening scene of the movie.
like the montage.
What? Not the montage. This is like, I know it's weird. This is like the one when they find out that they're pregnant with Sue and Reed are talking at the beginning. I thought that, and then I was going to the scene, and I'm like, oh, this movie's gonna click. It's awesome. I love the direction they're going, and then it didn't all click for me. But I thought just having Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal there, you immediately get an idea of who they are. You have an idea that they both already have their superpowers at that point.
Mhm.
They've been married for a long time. They've been trying to have a kid for multiple years, so family's super important to them. And then the fear that once they find out that she's pregnant, that that Reed Richards says, what if he's like me, or what if there's something wrong with him like me? That fear that he had, and you kind of that anxiety that kind of went through the whole film. So I know this is like kind of opposite of like a climax, like big moment. But as far as favorite scene goes, I thought that really laid out the movie really well, kind of diving right into like a plot as opposed to like an origin story building up, which they did with the montage a little while later.
That's a good scene, definitely.
Yeah, so that's what my pick for that one.
That is your favorite
That's
scene.
my favorite. That was my favorite scene in the movie. I know. Other than because I have, things like in my favorite like tight. This set the tone for the whole movie.
Yeah,
so
it's a good scene. So my favorite like scene or sequence then, because there is a difference between that. I consider that a scene, a sequence, a little bit different. But like, I did really enjoy the meeting Galactus scene and seeing what that was all about, followed by the escape from his ship and all the action that went along with that. I mean, I tend to like those type of scenes. And Sue Storm was also like on the verge of giving birth in that moment too. So I enjoyed the tension on that one. And I like in the moment, Silver Surfer's chasing them, and I'm just like, how are they gonna like? She's almost unstoppable, And you kind of again, there was like this menace, and she wasn't all that way, which I'm sure we'll get to. I mean, there was some different sides to her too, but like in that moment, it was like Silver Surfer is freaking unstoppable, and but they got away. So I really enjoyed that action sequence.
What did you think of? Maybe I think we can have this conversation. Now, what did you think of like the introduction of Galactus? Like, because this is like one of I don't know anything about him, but I know the name Galactus. I know that he was like a big time villain up there with like a Thanos or something like that. So, what were your thoughts about that?
Why is he so big? Like I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I thought they handled it well. I almost kind of lean on other people's opinions of it more than my own because I have no relationship with Galactus. It is definitely, like you said, it's a name. I'm sure I've seen images of him over my lifetime, but like I don't know how it's supposed to go, And from what I've listened to from people that have experience with Galactus, like they thought it was like a good way to introduce him, and he thought he was generally a good character. So kind of take their word for it. I thought it was fine. I didn't have any huge issues with it besides not really understanding it. Apparently, Galactus isn't. Like he was a person at some point, and kind of like what they wanted to do with Franklin Reed is just, he assumed the role of what he is now at some point. So there's a lot of backstory that we don't necessarily know, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought me too. I was fine too. I was a little confused, and I'll get to the Silver Surfer thing in a little bit, but about like the motive. You know what I mean? Of like he's a planet eater or whatever, and destroys planets, and he destroyed 5 other planets or something like that. And like why Earth and all that sort of stuff. The scene that you picked, I did think was really great. And then leaving and then like outsmarting the Silver Surfer and making the spaceship go invisible. That you're right. That is like a sequence that was awesome as opposed to a scene. So it's good that I picked a scene, you picked a sequence.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, you ready for the next one?
Yep.
Love this one. The Bill Pullman Independence Day Speech Award for the best one-liner or speech in the movie. So I actually struggled with this one. And hey, that is a freaking classic speech. And I love that name. Anyone that has obviously seen the speech knows what we're talking about. So we had to come up with that name for it. So
I mean, what, it's 30 years later, almost 29 years later, and every July 4th, that scene is all over the place. You know what I mean? It's I could definitely say that off memory right now. I mean,
Independence Day, man. I freaking love that movie when that came out. Man, that movie was just like true movie theater experience. That was a great speech. No doubt.
How many times do you think Bill Pullman in his life has been told, like, hey, can you like say that speech or like
there's something of it. I love it. Yeah, no, it's a great name for an award, and anyone again knows what we're talking about here. So I struggled with this though for this movie, and I do have one line, not a speech. I didn't think there was any like speech or monologue that was worth mentioning personally. It'd be interesting what you think, but there's really only one line that really stuck with me. But what do you think?
So I think there were 2 because there wasn't like a Bill Pullman type speech, but Sue Storm did give a speech at the end, and this isn't my pick actually. Okay. Sue Storm gave a speech kind of before the main fight about family, and it was a really good speech. I'll tell you one thing: Reed Richards wasn't giving a speech. I'll tell you that much. That guy wasn't freaking. wasn't firing anybody up at all to go fight, but Sue Storm did, and I thought her speech was really good, but that wasn't my pick. You want to say what my pick was?
I do. Tell me.
You mentioned it earlier. It was actually the arrival of the Silver Surfer, Julia Garner, when she comes in and just ominous. She's like, "I herald your beginning, I herald your end, I herald Galactus," and that reminded me so much of like Thanos' number 2 guy. Like at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War, or you know which one? What the hell's the one before Endgame? Infinity Stones, right?
Yeah. Infinity War.
He
big Marvel guy.
They love Marvel. I've seen all 23 movies in the first four phases. But like, remember that guy that was like just like Thanos' like henchman that like would go around? And
I think his name was Ebony Maw. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. But like, I thought that was kind of cool, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, what is happening now? You know, her vocabulary and the way she talked, and then like the overarching presence of Galactus, I thought was really really neat. So I like that one as far as best.
So that's my pick.
Shit.
That was my pick too. So I herald his beginning. I herald your end. I herald Galactus. Just the way, and this was in the trailer, so you knew it was coming. But I just thought that was a memorable moment for the movie. So as far as like a one-liner or speech, like that was it. Ominous to say the least. And you don't hear people say herald a lot in that way. So it was like, if they herald something, then that's like we mean business here.
I might bring it back. I might just kind of see if I can just kind of incorporate it into everyday. I bring Marin.
So when do you use it? When you're like introducing your kid, like I herald Marin. And
exactly. Yeah.
Like when you're introducing.
Yeah, when I'm bringing her to school, like I drop off or something like that. Like I go in, I'm like, hey, Harold Marin, you know what I mean? And when that's it. So I think that's exactly.
I think that's the clear winner. Obviously, we both picked. So
awesome.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Yep.
This name is a work in progress, but we have it as the Jar Jar Binks Award, and this is a character, scene, or subplot you'd toss as most people would toss Jar Jar Binks as a character. We might even toss that name as an award name, but for now, that's what we're rolling with. And I struggled with this one. I bet you have more thoughts than me, but do you want me to share my thing that I would toss?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's see. So at different times in the movie, you would see Thing creeping on Natasha Lyonne's character. And her name is Rachel Rosman in the show, and I honestly don't even know if they said it in the movie. If they did, like, I didn't catch it. But it just seemed like such an undercooked part of the movie, which they clearly had. If you read anything about this movie, they cut a lot of footage, cut a lot of people. John Malkovich was completely cut from this movie, and I think that there was more to do with her. But, like, am I supposed to, like, be invested in this relationship with the Thing? He's creeping her from a distance. He goes and like talks to her before their last fight, but it's like you just cut all that, cut her from it. You know what I mean? Like, it just, to me, we could have done without it.
You don't have Natasha Lyonne for that character. You know what I mean? Like, she's like a very well-known actress, multi-Emmy nominated actress. She's incredible. I actually liked her on scene, so I think the plot, you're 100% right. But I thought anytime she was on screen, it definitely had the gravitas of like, I should be paying attention.
Well, like you just said, of course it is. You see her, and it's like, oh, that's Natasha Lyonne. It's like, why are we not elaborating on this?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a very, very good plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one I agree with for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's actually a little bit bigger, and I think
get rid of Reed Richards.
Get rid of Reed Richards throughout the whole movie. No,
the movie.
Get rid of it all together. This is gonna be crazy. I'm anxious to see what you think about this, but I would change having Sue Storm die at the end and having Franklin bring her back. There was not 1 second of me watching that I thought she was dead. And I understand it was a way to maybe show Franklin's powers or what could happen. I didn't understand how he brought her back. I didn't understand any of that. But when she died and Reed was over her and giving her CPR and the Thing was like, let her go, man, she's gone. Not 1 second did I think that she was dead. And I'm just like, that's a problem for me. That's a problem with these movies and creating the stakes of like, I find a different way if the whole point of this is to show like Franklin Richards' power or something along those lines. Find a different way than killing the main character, knowing that there's no way in hell she's really dead.
Yeah.
So that's just my 2 cents on that.
One thing I'd be interested about that is if that specific thing has happened in a comic book.
Yeah.
Like at that point they're just recreating things that have happened in the past just to kind of stay true to the source material. But yeah, no, I mean, there's no doubt that she wasn't going to die, and maybe they just had to show Franklin Richards' power, which is called what, the power cosmic or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. And I want you've said the exact, like, the right thing. Like, this is a comic book movie. You know what I mean? And you listen to, like, Damon Lindelof, Andy Greenwald. They had a great podcast about it, and they both loved the movie probably a little bit more than I did, more in line with you.
Way
You know what I
more.
mean? So, like, you can be critical. I mean, this is about the same scene where a cosmic being came down to Earth, you know, to 828 or whatever, and destroy the. You know what I mean? So, like, you have to suspend disbelief. I understand all that, but it's just, I felt like that was supposed to be a big emotional moment of the movie that just didn't get the payoff from it, and it's happened in a lot of other superhero movies. So that's all.
Yeah, for sure.
Honorable mention: the plan to draw Galactus, like, switcheroo of the baby in the crib empty, was like, leave the baby there until Galactus sees him.
They almost had him.
All he did was step over that line.
Almost had him. He saw it last minute. He decided to hold back.
He was like, "Oh, wait a minute, the baby's not there anymore." Yeah, that was a funny little. I thought they could have restructured that a little bit,
but dude, it just speaks to, like, how hard it is.
So hard.
Again, they probably did this in a comic book.
Yeah.
And, it's so they're just taking, again, from the source material, or probably are. So
yeah, all right, awesome.
You ready for this one?
Yep.
It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Next award, the Wait, Rocky's Fighting on Christmas for No Money in Russia award. I think I'm gonna get that out of order, but you get the idea. Something that is a plot hole or dumb decision or doesn't make any sense, and you're just kind of like, wait, what? So I have some nominees.
Okay, there's one clear winner here, but I can't wait to talk about this.
You know, wow. Okay, I'm interested to see what you think. I'll start with the first one. One that I've already mentioned, not my top two. But why is Galactus so big? I just don't get that. It's not really a plot hole, but it's just kind of like this guy looks like a human being under his whatever it is, and why is he like freaking 300 feet tall? Like, I don't know. I know he's eating planets and stuff. It's just one of those things where it's just a little bit of a plot hole for me.
But I'm going to zag on that, all right? Why is he so big? Why isn't he bigger? This guy is a planet eater. This guy is 300 feet tall. I mean, it'd take him how long to destroy a planet? The guy was walking in New York City, so he's going to walk over. This thing should be unfathomably big. He's a planet eater.
Very fair. Very fair.
So, like, that was one thing, too. I was like, how does this guy destroy planets when he's walking max 15 miles an hour?
Yeah, why is he eating the whole planet? He's not, like you say, he's not that big. Just knock a building down, eat that. Like, it's just, you know, I mean,
like, there's a scene where he, like, when he got there and he picked up like a handful of trees, and I'm like, dude, this is like, you're gonna destroy the planet? Like, this
just
is
eat that
forever. Like, get what's your metabolism like? It's crazy. You know, so that is almost a zag on that. But yes,
okay. You want another one?
Sure. If you get to mine, I'm gonna just jump all over it. But yes.
Sure. This is not my final one, but it is. My thought was like, well, just give him the baby. Just give him the baby. You know, I mean, Sue Storm was mad at Reed Richards for even thinking it, but like, you gotta at least like think about it. Like, you know, like, we're talking about a whole entire planet. Yes, I know your baby has special powers, but like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, well, I don't know. Maybe you do give him the baby.
And they're just one kid. You know what I'm saying? 3.5 billion people. Absolutely. I don't want to. You're getting closer to mine.
I think we're gonna have the same one.
It's the most obvious thing I think in the whole movie.
You want me to say it, or you want to say it?
You can say it, and I'll just jump in.
Okay,
after.
tell me if I'm wrong. Reed Richards' press conference.
Insane.
Tell them that was. He was like, "Well, Galactus wanted us to take the baby, and we did, and that's ridiculous. Like, why would you tell everyone? Of course they're going to be freaking pissed. You just keep that part to yourself." Just say Galactus is coming, we're going to save the day, and then we're on the same page.
It was the biggest fault I have with this movie, and again, where my Reed Richards hate initiated from this scene. It made no sense that he told the world that they saw Galactus, that he would destroy their planet unless they give him his kid. So now Galactus is on his way to destroy the planet, including his kid, and everyone would then be up in arms, which they were, but then somehow they talked themselves out of it and got everyone back on board.
If they didn't do that press conference, the movie would be no different.
Yeah, exactly.
Like people. I mean, yeah, there was people picketing maybe or something, but like the world came together, all that stuff. Like you don't have to tell them that that's what needed to happen. It just made zero freaking sense at all.
It didn't. I mean, I was like, then I seriously, that's when I was out on Reed Richards at that point. I'm like, this guy, the smartest man in the world, but the universe. That's like Reed Richards' reputation. He is supposedly like so smart that he thought. I mean, maybe he has some socially awkward people or whatever, but like this is insane. That no one in his team was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, you're gonna chime in." Johnny Storm's not like, "Whoa, wait a minute here." That wasn't what happened. I mean, that was just insane that was his plan and stuff. So other honor, so that was that. I think that's crazy. Another honorable mention is the Fantastic Four got everyone on the planet to buy in that there's a curfew at nighttime that shuts off all the power on the world, so they could then build these gates that was planning to transport Earth to another solar system. Comic book movie, I get it. Gotta suspend disbelief.
I have so many questions. I mean, you're just gonna transport in the middle of space. What about the sun? What about the orbit? What about a million things?
So I buy more that they could transport the planet Earth to a different solar system that could work. I believe that more that the entire planet would buy in to shut off power at, let's say, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and not use power in order for this to happen. I thought that was a little like throwaway line, and there was a scene where like the things like power shuts off or whatever. It's like, oh well, I guess I can't use it till tomorrow morning. I thought that's a big plot hole. So,
yeah, that is funny. Thanks for mentioning that. Good call.
So that was my other one. But the press conference is like clear. I've heard that everything. That's like the clear. And he, like you said, it didn't advance the plot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the moment I was like, well, that was stupid, So, okay, well, I'm glad we're on the same page about that one. Next one. Now we're getting some character stuff.
Yep.
The Han Solo Award for the scene-stealing character, right? Yeah. The person that was charismatic or just something about them stole every scene they were in. Honestly, this is kind of good or bad. It could be in a bad way. It could be in a good way. My person isn't necessarily because I like the character, but like definitely felt like they stole the scene. So why don't you go first? I don't know if you have any honorable mentions you want to throw first. I keep saying nominees, but maybe honorable mention is the better way to.
For the next award, I have someone, so it's kind of not connected, but so I'm just going to give my person.
Yeah, sure.
I thought it was Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. I really like Johnny Storm. I talk about buying stock. Joseph Quinn as Eddie Munson or whatever in Stranger Things last season was a breakaway character. It's like almost like a Desmond Hume type situation where you can bring in and create a whole new character seasons along in the show. All the characters are established and have him kind of steal it. Yeah. I thought he was such a great character and I liked him so much. I know some people don't agree, but I really liked his Johnny Storm. I liked his arrogance. I liked his charisma with the ladies, and I liked how he was trying.
They could have gotten even into more of his charisma with the ladies, but he definitely. I mean, he's no Jimmy Olsen, but he was doing all right for himself.
He wasn't a stick man, Jim. You know what I mean? But Johnny Storm was great. I thought he was a good character. Big shoes to fill from like Chris Evans that did it, and Michael B. Jordan. So those are the last two Johnny Storms. I mean, two huge movie stars. So I thought he was great. I really liked him, and I hope he goes on to have a really nice career.
I think he will. I thought he did a good job. He is on my list. I have 3 people on my list, and he was one of them. So I thought he did a really good job, considering he was one of the main 4 characters. Like he definitely wasn't the featured person of the main 4. So that's why I felt good putting him on there, because I did think he stole some of the scenes that he was in. Did a nice job. Besides just flying around and the fire stuff, like he was able to translate the Silver Surfer's language, which I thought was like a pretty cool moment in the movie. So
sure.
Honorable mention, I put Herbie on there, the little robot guy, as a little kind of funny little robot. Did some stuff throughout the movie. But the person I picked, and again, I don't actually like this character, but I just thought the Mole Man person was a person that was just, they did kind of steal the scene, loud, annoying. And it's not like someone I want to get behind by any means, but like apparently for what he is in the comics, like there was a good representation of that character. So I thought I'd go with Mole Man for that one.
So this is going to be stepping on, I think, the next category. So a little bit. So let's just dive into the next category, and I'll dive in a little bit.
You want me to name the next category?
Yeah, name
first.
It. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the Adonis Creed Award. character who deserves their own movie or spin-off.
Yeah.
And this is because Adonis, Creed, or just Creed was a spin-off of the Rocky movies. So, which is, I think, one of the best spin-off movies that there has ever been. So, is Mole Man your winner for this next category? Because he was also a nominee or honorable mention for me. Not my winner, but definitely on the list. So, what do you think?
He is, and the main reason for it is because of Paul Walter Hauser, who plays him. That guy is electric. He, ever since you got me into this Blackbird, he was in Blackbird. He was the villain, the main bad guy in Blackbird, which
where I know him from.
Yeah.
He was the guy in freaking Blackbird.
Main bad guy who was
what a chilling performance that was in that show. Wow.
So,
okay.
So he's kind of having a moment, and right now because he was in this movie. He's in Naked Gun, which just came out.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's in Naked Gun. He's like Liam.
Dude, we have to do the next freaking Rehashables on Naked Gun.
We'll talk about that because I'm actually spoke with my friend Dustin Dragitas, and him and I are planning to maybe go see it next week. So I'll let you know about that. But anyway, I need to know more about the Subterranea plot. I know it's a whole comic book thing. So almost if there was its own like movie or like 6-episode prequel series of Subterranea and Mole Man and Paul Walter Hauser, because I just think that guy is so electric. That's the one thing I would watch. So
I think that's a good choice. So he was my 1B to the 1A that I'll ultimately choose. But yeah, like you could do a whole movie on Subterranea.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing of maybe even like kind of plot hole. Like, wait, there's people that just live underground, like, But yeah, no, great pick. So he was obviously on my list. For me, the 1A was Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm.
Really like the Silver Surfer. Taking a step back, I know a lot of people did not like the Silver Surfer because historically Silver Surfer has been portrayed as a male, and people don't like it when you change the gender and all that stuff. Indifferent to me. I thought Julia Garner did a really good job in that role. I enjoyed her role. I enjoyed the idea of, she was a person before and what she had to sacrifice and why she became the Silver Surfer and that whole backstory. I feel like there's a whole story to tell that I'd be interested in seeing there. I was surprised by her choice, I guess, but not really surprised by her choice at the end to push Galactus into the portal and kind of save the planet Earth. So tough choice between Mole Man and Silver Surfer, but I would go with Silver Surfer. It was up to me.
I liked Silver Surfer 100 times more than Galactus. And if she was the main villain of the movie and somehow you were able to get into more about how she became the Silver Surfer and her family thing and her motives and that sort of thing, I think it would have been for a stronger movie than this Galactus, an all-encompassing being. I felt like her decision at the end did come kind of suddenly. It was just, after, I guess, Johnny Storm translated some stuff, she kind of went back and wanted to, push Galactus through the portal. But I completely agree, and I think there's a lot of meat on the bone for her to see some other stuff in her origin story and stuff. So it's a great pick.
Yep. So, okay, next award. The Jack Burton Award. MVP of the movie. Is there ever been a bigger MVP of a movie than Kurt Russell with freaking Jack Burton?
I mean, yeah, Big Trouble in Little China, our all-time favorite movie, the all-time masculine presence on screen. He was just the unbelievable MVP. So that makes sense to call this the MVP award the Jack Burton Award. So
love it. So when you talk about masculine,
yeah,
has there ever been like better, more masculine person? It's funny that my MVP is actually Sue Storm. I don't know if I figured you picked the same thing, so I just dive into it. I thought she was great. Like, I don't know Vanessa Kirby from anything, but I thought she had a great performance. Like, what is she in? You must know.
Vanessa Kirby was in Mission Impossible. The last one. She's been in last two Mission Impossibles. She's been in.
So I haven't seen the last one.
No, not the. I haven't seen that one either. The one before that, she was in. So I picked her. Yeah, she was in Dead Reckoning Part 1. She was in The Crown.
Yep.
She's. I picked Vanessa Kirby as so not even just Sue Storm. Vanessa Kirby.
Okay, yeah. I think of it that way. Yeah. So like, I thought the Sue Storm character was strong, and then I thought Vanessa Kirby in it was strong. So like, I walk away being like, oh, I want to see more of her and other stuff.
I think this is with the press tour, with her being with Pedro Pascal the entire time. I think she is the clear MVP, and this will catapult her into stardom. People will know who Vanessa Kirby is. She has this good movie coming out called Eden, which is a pretty stacked cast. I said she was in Mission Impossible. She's, I think, now kind of arrived, and everyone will recognize her. And I hope, so here's the big thing, is they're going to be part of like Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars and all this kind of stuff. I hope she's kind of the one leading the charge from the Fantastic Four and not Reed Richards.
Yeah.
And stuff, because I think she was the clear alpha of the movie, and I thought she was awesome. So,
Yep. So I'm glad. I figured we would agree on that.
yeah.
Yeah, she was great, dude. Awesome.
Yep.
Look forward to seeing her in the next Marvel movie, which is, I think, is Doomsday. Correct?
Spider-Man is coming out, I think, first, and then Doomsday.
Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really like toning down the number of movies. So
Have to.
all right, next one. This is the Shawshank Redemption Award for Will This Movie Matter in 10 Years? Shawshank is one of the best. I mean, anytime it's on TV, you got to pick it up and watch it. So, has a great legacy. I think people say that movie matters, 30-something years later? 31 years later? Was it 1994?
I would say 94. I don't think so, but early
93, 94. Same year as another movie that won Best Picture. What was it?
What's
Do you remember the movie that won Best Picture over Shawshank that year?
No, I don't.
Forrest Gump.
Really? What a year. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
What a year. Wow. Didn't realize that.
But Shawshank is one of the best.
All-timer.
So will this movie matter in 10 years? What are your thoughts? I've been kind of thinking about this one since we started planning for the pod. What do you think?
I do not think so. I don't think this movie will be any different than a lot of other Marvel movies, other than the star power that it had with like Pedro Pascal kind of in it. I just don't. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think this movie will be easily forgotten. I know this is like now we're entering a new phase and stuff, but this is going to be, I think, the era of like, again, Doctor Doom that people will be remembering, and we could talk about the post-credit scene, kind of setting that up. But I don't think this will be a movie where we thought, yes, Superman might matter because it's going to catapult DC and really has a chance to have some legs. I don't think this movie's much different than other Marvel things that have come out in the last few years and that move the plot too much in order to do that.
So I don't think it matters like Superman I think will matter, but I don't put it in the same category as all the other Marvel movies that have come since Endgame. I do think this is like a little step up. It's for the first time I feel like it moved Marvel in the direction that it's going compared to other movies since Endgame. Like this introduced Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four, which I think will have a big presence in Avengers Doomsday and whatever Secret Wars and whatever other movies happen. So again, that doesn't matter as much as Superman, doesn't matter as much as most movies, but I do think it's one of the better Marvel movies since Endgame. So I'll just put it slightly down for mattering.
Okay.
I don't think it's irrelevant, but
I think moving forward, Marvel has to lean heavily on Tom Holland and Spider-Man, and then Downey just has to do it. I mean, it's back on his shoulders. I think, and we'll see. There was that thing I think we both listened to. Is Doctor Doom even a bad guy? You know what I mean? Like, are they gonna pivot and stuff? Robert Downey is gonna be the one, and I think Tom Holland are the two that have to carry the torch for Marvel going.
Well, there are some comics that have Doctor Doom as a good guy. Yes. Him having an alliance with the Fantastic Four. So I mean, that could certainly happen too. But yeah, I mean, you kind of want them to move on from those two guys, from Tom Holland and Robert Downey, but those guys are awesome. Especially
Tom Holland, he's the next natural choice. I thought Spider-Man No Way Home was awesome, so I really liked that one a lot.
But it sounds like Brand New Day is not going to even have connections to the overall Marvel universe as much. Like it's more focused on, I think, street level Spider-Man, like a smaller story. It's not going to be tied into the overall thing that leads into. I mean, I'm sure it will somehow on some level, but like it's not this big, Avengers Doomsday type level where you have a million other Marvel superheroes in it and has this like greater cosmic story. It's just like supposedly a street level Spider-Man.
Well, we'll see. It's an interesting choice for it being the fourth movie or third movie and stuff to do this. So we'll see what ends up happening. So yeah.
So how about the rehash verdict? Which I feel like we kind of get to this a little bit when we're talking about this movie matter in 10 years. So maybe we rethink of this. But rehash verdict. So classic, cult favorite, trash. And I just kind of feel like it's none of those things when we really talk about it. It's definitely not a classic. I don't even know that it's going to be a cult favorite, but at the same time, I don't think it's trash.
I think you're absolutely right. It's very mid-tier. You know what I mean? For me, it's just like a mid-tier. If you like superhero movies and like the Marvel universe, you'll like this. If you don't, you're not gonna like it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't think it's Superman. I mean, and I think this movie got hurt by Superman. I think if this movie came out in October, November, or something like that, it might have done better. But I think the
Superman came out before Superman. Yep. the movies were within 2 weeks of each other, and just Superman had totally different tones. So if you like that kind of tone better, like this is at a disadvantage. So yeah, it probably did get hurt.
Yeah, so I completely agree with that. So yeah, I mean, I'm anxious to see what the next steps are. There's some lure too. The one thing we didn't talk about is, so maybe if you've read anything, this movie took place on Earth 828.
Yeah,
Everything else was Earth 829, right?
yeah. So it's just a different variation of Earth, obviously, right? I mean, this is what the '60s, and they're so technologically advanced. So it's just a different version, and something will happen to bring them to our version of Earth or whatever the other version is. Where all the other superheroes that we've been exposed to over the number of years into. So yeah, I don't know what that is. I mean, people speculate about things. I guess at the end of Thunderbolts, there's something that connects it. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. I do know what it is, but something that connects them to that. So we'll see.
I'm excited, it's not out on Disney Plus yet. I have to see Thunderbolts. So actually,
no, I check it every week. I think it's like coming out around your birthday, middle of the month. It'll be over there. And I thought about buying.
Yeah.
What?
I saw September, but September 1, whatever.
I saw August like 19th or 20th. But yeah, okay.
But anyway, I want to check it out because I really think I would like that movie because of the humor element of it. I think it's like a really funny movie. The cast is obviously ridiculous. So, but we'll see. We're not having another movie for a year. The next superhero movie is it Supergirl or Spider-Man? I don't know, but it's not for a long time.
Maybe we do Rehashables on Thunderbolt. I mean, we have a lot of new Rehashables potentials with our new format, so we'll see whether it's Naked Gun or Thunderbolts or something.
Yeah,
but we still got Emmys, and we'll talk all about that. But before we get to closing out the podcast, the after credit scenes.
Yep.
I did not stay for the second one, but the first one was you got a chance to see Doctor Doom, and I guess that was actually Robert Downey Jr. for what that's worth. I mean, I don't know if they even say it, but supposedly it was him. He was filming, so definitely look forward to seeing him.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has been saying that was really Robert Downey Jr., which makes no sense why that would be Robert Downey Jr. and not show his face. That literally doesn't make any sense to me, but they, whatever. But it got me excited because I don't care, like Robert Downey Jr. is the freaking man. Like, no matter what, whenever he's on screen for these kind of movies, it's a home run. So I'm really excited to see him. I don't know how they're going to do it. I care, obviously, but I don't care that much because I'm just happy to have him back, Yeah. So
I didn't see the second after credit scene. I honestly didn't read anything about it. I heard it was like a throwaway.
It was a throwaway. It was just like a cartoon of like the Fantastic Four, like of the 60, it was a cartoon of the Fantastic Four. It was nothing. It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like on the fence of now, like, I think I only stay for the mid-credit scene, and then the end-of-credit scene is like nothing,
Yeah, those tend to be the ones that like have a meaningful thing. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah.
What else you want to talk about? Anything else on Fantastic Four?
Nothing else on Fantastic Four, and I haven't had a chance to watch really much else. I'm trying to get into Paradise, as I told you about, and try to get that before Emmys. Emmys are next month coming out. And then I was going to tell you today, because Dustin and I were texting earlier, and he's traveling right now, but we were thinking of going to see Naked Gun on Monday. I know it might be tough, but I want to.
I don't know that I'd be able to tag along with you, but maybe I go see it just so we can talk about it. But
Naked Gun was one of him and I specifically. We watched that movie dozens of times in high school, and all those Leslie Nielsen movies and the comedy stuff. So that's like Dustin and I's like thing growing up. Naked Gun is one of the funniest movies ever. I am so happy that this movie is getting great reviews. It had an awesome opening weekend.
Was it 100 on Rotten Tomatoes?
High 90s.
Or like for the first like few that came out, it was like getting like very, very good scores.
Yeah, like Pamela Anderson is in it, and then Akiva Schreiber. You know who Akiva Schreiber is?
Is he from Lonely Island?
Yes, he's a Lonely Island guy. So I'm big into that podcast.
I think he just dominated that question, by the way, and I didn't even know that before. I just recognized his name. That's how much I'm a Lonely Island guy.
How you like the podcast? He's the man, and from everything I've read, it's an 85-minute movie. It's in and out. There's like a joke a minute is kind of the pacing of it. Pamela Anderson is in it, and she supposedly like does a great job as that role. I think the Priscilla Presley role. And Liam Neeson, man, just reinventing himself. Talk about a guy that had like an incredible like Academy Award, like Schindler's List kind of career. Then the second chapter was like the Taken, badass, older, like awesome action hero career. And now he's going into like this awesome comedic spoof genius career. Because to me, Leslie Nielsen is like the ultimate. Nobody can beat Leslie Nielsen's like deadpan humor like that. And Liam Neeson though is just I'm so happy it's him. So
There's just not a lot of comedy like that, or at least any comedy that was noteworthy over the years. So it's nice to have that come back. Naked Gun was awesome.
I can't.
I bought the trilogy the other day. It's for sale, like a discounted price on Apple. And I was like, oh man, maybe I should buy these. But
it's so funny. It's such dumb humor, but it's so funny. It's so good. So I'm really can't wait for that.
On my end of things, just to kind of finish up some things that I saw, I did watch Ballerina the other day, which I enjoyed.
Yes. Yep.
So that was cool. I didn't want to see it all summer. It's tough, dude.
How did she do?
She does great. Action is great. It's just tough when you don't have John Wick. Like, it's John Wick universe, so anything without him is going to be inferior, unfortunately. And because I like the idea when they did the Continental TV show, which I guess wasn't very good, but it's like it's in that universe, and I want to learn more about it. But like John Wick's not in it, so it's like, yeah. And with this, awesome action, obviously an actual movie as opposed to like a Peacock level TV show. So like the action was very good. Keanu Reeves was in it for a little bit. Yep. So it's worth checking out. It's just not like John Wick level. I think I gave it like a B+ or something like that. So I'm glad I got a chance to check it out though.
Yeah, you've been on it. I'm happy you got a chance to check that out. Was there anything else you checked out, or just been doing the audiobooks?
Been chipping out of way at White Lotus. A few episodes left on that. Share my overall thoughts on a future pod, and then just we both were listening to the Project Hail Mary audiobook, which I finished, and you get some time left, which we can talk about that maybe next time. Really enjoyed it. And I just finished the David Goggins Can't Hurt Me book this morning on audiobook. So I've been feeling audiobooks. I think I'm an audiobook guy now. I told you this when we were hanging out this weekend. Like, I think I might just pump the brakes on some podcasts. A lot of podcasts I listen to outside of like Simmons, which I'll always listen to. Some of like the movie ones that I listen to are just like a lot of the just like doomerism, just like guy type podcasts, and it's like the same conversations a lot over. Like I've noticed, and I've just been having a harder time listening to them. Maybe I pivot that time and try to like dig into a good fiction audiobook or something like David Goggins. So that might be the plan for me.
Keep me posted. I'm fired up. I mean, Project Hail Mary, like we talked about that. The only reason that was on my radar is because of the Gosling movie coming out next year, which people saw footage at Comic-Con. They are so high on that movie. I'm really, 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 really excited about that. And maybe there'll be a David Goggins movie because that guy's is been a huge inspiration to me. I read his book a couple years ago and kind of really changed a lot of things. And he's an unbelievable. No, he's not for everybody. He's not for everybody, but he was.
Yeah, I'm still trying to process the book. I did like it.
Yep.
I think I gave it an A-. My little weird little way of grading things. It wasn't like the perfect book, and I'm still kind of unpacking my thoughts on it. Definitely, the guy is one of a kind. Yeah. Like some of the stuff he's gone through, like quite a story. Just the book was just a lot different than I thought it was going to be completely honest with you. And still like super fascinating, dude. And I feel like I need to like learn more about him outside of what was just in this book because this really is my only exposure to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's got all different social media stuff, and
and he has another book too. I don't know if I'm ready.
The book isn't as good as this one, but it is still very good. I listened to it and I thought it was great. And I like the format of the podcast in between each chapter. I thought that was a really good idea.
I have to say that was very well done because when you said that, I was like, man, I'm trying to get away from podcasts. I don't know if I really want to listen to another podcast every single chapter, but we're talking like 5-10 minute segments of being interviewed by his ghostwriter, and I thought it was as good of an implementation of that as it could have possibly been. It brought a lot of value to each chapter, and there's only like 11 chapters. So
yeah, exactly. Well, awesome, bud. And yeah, I got Naked Gun on the radar. I would love for you to. I would love to do a Rehashables on that if possible. And then Emmys in 1 month, which we'll do an Emmy preview pod for sure.
All right, dude. Well, listen, that was great. It was an awesome pod. Really enjoyed doing it this way. It makes me want to do more pods where we can really just dig into one movie and have these type of conversations. I think it just helps make the flow so much better.
I think we did it with like some of our classics. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we could totally go back.
Well, then if we did that, then it's actually rewatchables at that point.
You're right. It is. You're right.
Which I'm not opposed to it. We do a Rehashables flashback.
Yeah.
But like the thing
that is
what Rewatchables doesn't do is they don't apply their format to new movies. They only apply their format to old movies. So it is kind of nice that is one way we're not completely ripping off of them. That we apply format to new movies.
Imitation is the best form of flattery. We love those. I mean, literally, we love those guys. More that they're the number one podcast for us. So, awesome, bud.
All right, pal. Well, I'll look forward to the next one. We'll talk soon.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.